Welcome, everybody, to Solo Spotlight. I'm your host, Ryan MacDougall. We have a very special episode with you today. This was an opportunistic episode for myself and the kind of experience that I have in the real world. Today, my truly extraordinary guest, the Amazing Boobzilla. There we go. The mics were not. Oh, the static. That's probably my phone. What is going on? The Amazing Boobzilla.
It's still me.
Yeah.
It didn't
From Las
change.
Vegas, Nevada, is a performance-based artist renowned for her captivating blend of sideshow stunts, burlesque, stand-up comedy, the Countess of Cleavage, the Mammarian,
No,
the Mammarian,
weapons of
Mammarian.
mammarian destruction.
weapons of Mammarian destruction.
There we go.
Welcome.
Hi,
How you doing?
I'm stupendous. How are you?
Great. I was always worried about this. Oh my God, these headphones are killing us.
Oh, there goes the mic again.
That fixed it.
And we're back.
All right. My apologies. These technical difficulties. That's amazing. How you like in Edmonton?
It's definitely a weird place, but I've never actually been to any of these parts of Canada before, so
Oh,
everything
really?
is new and different for me.
How often do you travel like internationally? I see that you frequent Vegas, obviously,
Yes.
and like Denver.
Yeah, I bounce between the two places. Is where I base out of now, Denver and Las Vegas.
Okay. How has your last set of shows been?
Here in Edmonton,
Yeah.
it's been really good. The audiences is responding very well to the entire show, not just me.
Yeah.
Which is me.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, the entire show is a very good cast of super artistic individuals, and everybody is just pulling 6 different kinds of weights to make this circus happen, and it's honestly just so awe-inspiring to see how it's all coming together, where I fit in, and how I can best contribute to this big top traveling circus.
Yeah, like, and right before we started, I was saying like I went to the show. I think May 6th. I want to say. I think it was Thursday. I'm not sure, but I went, and what truly like stood out is like the shock factor you got from people, and I was like, that is absolutely amazing. I was like to get that shock factor, and like I just it was like honestly like that was the reason that I want to bring like people like yourself on, and like because it's this idea of like it's this super outside like albatross person of like there's a niche for everything,
Yes.
right? Like there's an absolute niche for everything. And then kind of it was the idea of like, hey, if you think you can interview people, why not like really be willing to talk to anybody? You know what I mean? Like just out of the blue be like, hey, come on for an interview. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's kind of also like I take this as like I had to do different types of research. I had to like really because I'm not that versed in like I don't my like personal narrative isn't revolved around like identities and like positivity, and not saying that's like, but I just it's just like a different type of like vibe, right? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's something where like I'm very humbled because this is one of these. You're someone with the type of profession you're in, as well as like the experiences you garnered. Like this is a one in the million opportunity.
It really is. I keep marveling to myself every time I go outside and I walk around our lot, and I'm surrounded by everybody from third to fifth generation traveling circus performers, where it's like this is their life. This is what they do, and I get to be cool enough to experience like this whole nomadic lifestyle and artistic expression with them. Like my art was good enough, great enough to not only just be a part of, but also continue to influence like the future of circus.
Yeah.
In all of North America and across the globe.
If you
like,
want to take the headphones
it's so cool.
off. If you want to take, I can still hear the
Headphones are dumb.
Yeah, I was like, if you want to take the
headphones are
off.
dumb. Yeah. We don't need them.
But no, my apologies. I know that the static, it might have been distracting you, so I didn't want to. But no, it's very interesting because I think it's something that's like misunderstood, as well as something that like although you're missing things in other areas, you're gaining it in other areas. Like maybe you miss having like a stable household, but now your family becomes like the people that you work with. Right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like it's a whole different level of like interdependent community where it's just like, we're all finding out different skill sets that we all have, and we're able to not just help each other but teach each other other skill sets and become like much more not just sustainable but overall like for our own community we're more sustainable. Like I was talking to some of the guys that do tech, so some of the guys that you see that are running around on stage, like moving all the equipment, they're the same guys that are building our fences, repairing our steps to our trailers and bunkhouses. They're the same guys that are welding our props together. They're all the same people. And I was talking to one of our cast members, and I was just like, I want to know how to do that. He was like, you want to learn? And I was like, yeah, I want to learn. Yeah. I want to learn how to do arc welding. How cool would that be?
Yeah.
And, so it's like I'm going to be learning how to operate like heavy machinery. I'm going to be learning how to set up and tear down a circus tent. They already have me working in the ticket booth, so sometimes people don't recognize me. They see me in the ticket booth, and they're like, oh, there's a bearded lady here. That's fascinating. And then they see, sometimes they will recognize me on stage, so they're like, oh,
I see it.
You were so nice to me when you were selling me my ticket. Now you're cussing me out. No. I'm just kidding.
No, and I thought one of the acts, the one with the nun, without spoiling anything, that was my girlfriend and I, that was our favorite. We were like, no.
What? I wasn't your favorite. Delete that.
That was our
the
favorite
after me.
Exactly.
Okay.
But that was one of the funniest things. And then to see, because some people don't see that it's like, oh, that same person comes out late, and then you're like, oh, how many acts do they have? And like, this is crazy. And then that was what. Like, I'm, like, one of these people that, like, I just, like, I can't stop my brain from going. And then I go into, like, what are the logistics of this? And, like, how did they time the audio? And, like, it's crazy how they had to do this. And, like, even with, like touching people and stuff like that, it's like, oh, there must be, like, a fine line here that, like, you know what I mean? Or like,
well, I mean, we make sure that we obey all the laws.
Exactly.
And we're following through. I'm not sure exactly how it works for province to province. I'm used to being, in the States where it's just like, oh, by city and state, we have to, follow certain laws and ordinances. And of course, we're doing that here, because we're just trying to make sure that everybody is trying to have good, clean fun with us. You know what I mean?
It's like professional edginess.
Oh,
it's like
absolutely.
You're not doing anything wrong and you're not breaking any rules, but like at this, like you're pushing what entertainment can be, right? And like how well you can get people to engage.
Do you remember what it's like growing up with your older sibling that's like holding the finger in your face and they're like, I'm not touching you. Exactly. I'm not touching you.
Yeah.
And they're not actually doing it, but then you get annoyed because they're not. That's us.
Yeah.
That's what you're paying to come see. No, I'm kidding. But it is kind of like that, where it's just like, we will invite you into our immersive bubble. We are going to annoy you a little bit. We're also going to be super cute and irresistible, and you won't be able to handle it. And but overall, we have such this amazingly fun show. Where it's like, I have never heard so much laughter.
Oh, it was amazing.
It
was amazing. Like, I went in thinking I was going to be like at the start, when I did like the haunted house thing at the start, I was like, I don't know, I'm not like a big jump scare guy. Like, I'm over it already. I was like, so if people are gonna be coming up in my face and all this shit, but we got like a back. Like, I was like, I don't want to be in the row. Like, I don't want to be fucked with. Like, I don't want no one fucking with me.
And we fucked with you.
Yeah,
we fucked with you so much. No, I'm just kidding. We didn't do that.
But
we were respectful.
But it was, but seeing it, and then even not only that, I had like a newfound respect to, especially for you and how you how you carried yourself as an entertainer, because not only that, you were the one like showing people off, giving the farewell at the end of the show, and like, thank you for coming out, so like kudos to you, because like that's one of those things I think where like people don't remain humble, you know what I mean, where it's like, I already got your ticket, go fuck, like I don't care if you liked it or not, like I don't really give a fuck, you already
I don't actually care. No, I'm just kidding.
but the
sorry.
No,
I'm a shit. I'm a shit and a half. But no, I mean, but that's kind of like the whole point of being an artist. Is like, if you're not making yourself open for people to like genuinely appreciate your art while you are giving it in the most authentic expression, like you're limiting your interactions for like, you know, genuine care, respect.
Well, the only reason I reached out to you is because I heard you tell someone on the way out your Instagram.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, there we go. But
surprise.
Right. And it was just simply like passing by. Like, you were walking behind me, you said goodbye to someone else. They were like, you are beautiful. And you were like, it's Amazing Boobzilla on Instagram. Thank you very much for coming out. And I was like, good for her. I was like, fucking rights. I was like, that is fucking, like, it just shows class. You know what I mean? Where it's like, even though you already went full circle, you did the performance, you did what you were there to get paid to do, and like this and that, but you went the extra mile, you did the extra thing to just show people like, I am also still like a human being outside of this. It helps. Like, this isn't like, because do you ever feel like sometimes it's like an aquarium?
It is.
Where people are just like this, like,
yes,
dance, dance, dance.
It very much can be like that, especially when I'm just out existing in public, when I'm just on my own time.
Yeah. They're like, do the thing with the basketballs. Like,
well, it's either, now that I'm out here, a lot of people don't recognize me out in public, which is, it's pleasantly different.
Yeah.
It's just
it's refreshing.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, whereas in the States, like, I'm used to being more recognized publicly, and even if they don't immediately recognize me, it's one of those,
I saw you from somewhere.
I've seen you before. I can't quite place you, and it's like, I go viral all the time because of the videos that I upload of my shows and different segments of my acts. Like, I create viral content that's not something to brag about. It's just, it's a lot of, I create art that makes people just stop and take stock of their lives, I guess.
Well, and like I was saying, while we were there, the other couple that we were there with, I would say is more on like the timid side. So like, when I saw you come out, I was like, yes. I was like, yeah. Because I love seeing people, like, it's I don't know if I have a lot of mental health problems, but it's like, I really enjoy seeing people I really enjoy seeing people squirm, where it's like someone tells them no and they're like, what do you mean? Like, they're like, no, and they just start like tweaking out, or like, so you know what I mean? Like, someone's coming around you and you're like this, like losing it, or like super uncomfortable. It's like, no, this is what you signed up for, man. Like, get ready.
It always makes me surprised, like, low key, when they come to a circus where we tell them there's audience participation, it's immersive, and we invite people onto stage with us or participate with us, and they act offended. Yeah. It's like, hello, you paid to be part of the show.
Yes.
You paid for the option, is what I'm trying to say, and it is just like, it's funny to me when people are like, oh no, I couldn't clutch my pearls, I couldn't possibly. Well, yeah, like
without telling too much, like one guy had to get on like all fours, and then you could see that I was imagining the conversation in my head of like, even when like they rally up and they grab it's like how much does that guy have to be like, okay, listen, you're part of an operation. You have to listen to me very carefully. You're going to do this, this, this. It's fine. You're not going to get hurt. And it's like you're almost now a fucking hostage negotiator.
Yeah.
Because the guy's like, what? And now you're like, listen, it's going to take 15 seconds. You need to go to the left. Left. Okay. When I say go, you need to do this. And they're like, yes. You're like, okay, you ready? You got this. You got this.
You got this. You got it,
and
pal.
they're like, what the fuck? Because they're like, I was just here to enjoy a show, and now fucking here I am. Because I think in the audience brain, it's the idea of like, can't happen to me.
Yeah.
Can't be me.
Yeah.
And then because like when I saw them doing the spotlight, I literally was like this, like almost to the point where I was like, I think I have to go to the washroom.
Yeah.
Like this is how bad I don't want to be picked. That's like, I'm just gonna go to the washroom.
This is like the most amazing part of our generation, where everybody is not a pick me, and they get such social anxiety about participating.
But I said, but what I said though, and this is where my brain like fucks it up, because I was like, if I do get picked, I'm gonna get Emily, my girlfriend, to record it. And I was like, then I'm just going to make content. I was like, so at least I'm getting something out of it. Like,
well,
if I'm going to get fucking embarrassed or whatever, walk on all fours on a fucking stage somewhere, like, I was like, I'm going to, like, make it worth my while. But it was truly, and, like, the difference in, like, performances where, like, some of it was athletic, where some of it was more entertainment, where some of it was like pure comedy. So like it was a good mix of everything, and like I really enjoy that. But continue on what you were saying about the old generation. You were saying like this was what is the difference between the new and old generation.
Oh, which part? We got
That's
derailed
all right.
so
That's
far
all right.
long ago.
No, that's okay. Is there any now? Are you guys doing, like, say you guys have, like, collaborators, but they can't come for, like, the whole tour. Is there oftentimes you would have, like, people come in for, like, guest sets? Or is that, like, something where, like, everything's pre-scripted, top to bottom, nothing's up for variation?
I mean, well, that's kind of a complicated question. I'm new to the company overall, so I'm learning as I go. I am on my third cast in 4.5 months.
Yeah.
And that's not due to any kind of a behavioral issue or like a cast problem. It's because the cast that I started on, they already have another sword swallower there who happens to be my sword swallowing granddaughter.
Right.
So we both started in the same unit together. But so they already had her. They didn't need me for this particular tour, and they wanted me to come on this Canadian tour, which I'm on now. So they knew that they needed to transfer me somewhere else so I'd still be employed, and they weren't, missing out on the opportunity for me to create art. So it's a win-win. So they transferred me to one of the other paranormal units. So I was with Unit 1 for about 1.5 months or so, maybe probably about closer to 2 months.
Right.
And so I was getting immersed with that cast, and they have different functions, and it's like while we were there on Unit 1, Unit 4, which is now the unit that I'm on presently, came to crash with our show. So some of them had some stage time with us there. Some of them helped learn setup and teardown procedures. So it's like sometimes we have influx of other performers that are coming or going to other circus units within our company. Will take stage time with us. Sometimes we do pick up other performers. Like right now, we picked up a couple of my local friends here from Edmonton. One does contact juggling, and the other one is the world's fattest contortionist. I don't want to drop names because I want people to come and see them. I want them to come see them, and they're working in their pre-show.
Okay.
So definitely worth it. So it's like everything that you saw that was in like the pre-show area and stuff, like before you go into the big top, now they're there.
Right.
So it's going to be fantastic.
That's amazing.
And so it's like we have a whole difference of things, of people coming and going and being transferred. So it's open.
Do you find that like the industry as a whole, like even like within say, because you're based in the US, do you find like the industry as a whole is pretty like transient? Like, do you find that like you're constantly like flowing in and out of different work spots, and like you're working a bit with people here, you're doing something here, you're learning something new here, something totally different here?
Yes, like right now I have 3 jobs right now with the circus. So it's like I'm the headliner, I work the ticket booth, and I'm also picking up on social media. So that way I'll be helping generate our own content instead of worrying about using AI or using recycled or things
Right.
like that, because this is a whole new show. This is literally a brand new cast. Some of the people have worked together on other units before, but this is a brand new show entirely.
So how did that come up with like the social media? Was that something you pushed, or was that something where like because you were creating like viral media beforehand that like the organization reached out and was like, "Hey, do you want to do it?"
Well, I had asked, but since the show was this
Yeah.
particular cast was forming, and I asked if there was anybody else on social media, because they already, on the other units that I was working on, they already had people working social media.
Right.
They already gave the jobs to someone else, so they didn't
And,
want to uproot
and it's
them.
probably like a next man up type thing.
Kinda like, sometimes it's seniority, sometimes it's about skill set, and since I was only temporary with that particular branch, it really didn't make sense for them to have me take over social media if I was only going to be there for 2 months and then got to hand it back to someone else.
Now, how
So-
long? How long are your tours? Like, so this was like you said you got here at like the end of April.
I did, yes.
Yeah. So now, like, is that typically like around a month, month and a half, or like are you like on longer stints?
Our tour is scheduled to end in the end of September.
Okay.
So we're literally making our way across Canada.
Wow, that's exciting. So that's a lot of show. That's
So many
Shows.
shows. This is officially my longest Canadian tour. The longest tour I'd ever done before was like a month, but that was like in Ontario area.
right.
So it's like now I get to like explore so much more of Canada, and I'm driving like all the way through myself. So
Oh,
it's
that's
like
amazing.
yeah, I was like this is my 3rd country I've gotten to visit and drive through
That's amazing.
since January. Like, cool.
So, take me back. Like, I kind of want to go into a brief, like, origin story, because I want to know how someone finds their way. And if you were to go through this with me, I kind of want to take our audience through, like, the 5 W's,
Okay.
if that makes sense. So, first one, where did this all begin? In Vegas?
No, I'm going to give a content and trigger warning for those who may or may not be affected. A lot of my issues, concerns, and adventures started when I was in puberty age, and so most of this is from the context of when I was 12 years old and going on.
Okay.
So that being said, what had happened was it seemed like I was starting regular puberty, and then it kind of went sideways, and I went from a B cup to a D cup in less than 2 weeks.
Oh, Jesus.
So we thought that I might have cancer. And, like it's really hard to find a child breast oncologist, a pediatric breast oncologist. Like it's a whole different
ball game.
Yeah, it was weird. And I was also dealing with some other personal issues that I'd really rather not
course.
discuss, because it was child abuse.
Yes.
But so the scope of things were complicated,
Right.
because I was dealing with my own body changes and how
it was like a
people were
multifaceted
yes
things going on, so it wasn't like you could tackle one thing at once.
correct. So it was very complicated at the fact that, like how I am now, I had very similar body structure when I was a child.
Right.
So I had grown men attempting to assault me, attempting to seduce me, knowing full well that I was under the age of 13, and they're like, we don't care. And I'm just like, "Huh!"
Yeah.
Get
It's
away from me.
Yeah, very disgusting.
Super disgusting.
Yeah.
And, so I was trying to perceive my own body in my own way as a growing preteen.
Right.
That was awkward enough. And then I had other people just either perceiving me sexually or perceiving me in a slut-shamey way.
Right.
Like, I'm
Now,
doing
was
this
this
onto
more-
myself.
Was this more of like, now, again, obviously, like the effects are like vary, but like, was this like something where you felt that like growing up that like your maturity wasn't tracking because like you were seen as like more or less like an object, you know what I mean? So like people weren't like taking you seriously and weren't like gaining credibility like as you go through life. So like therefore no credibility, no responsibility, right? And like it kind of goes.
I had all the responsibility with no credibility, so instead they were always following up because I had giant boobs as a child. Therefore, I'm not only stupid, but I'm also a stupid slut.
Right, exactly. So then it was like your expectation to do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And then if anything's wrong, it's like, well, it is what it is.
Yeah, and it's just like, sluts aside, it's like, first of all, who cares if sluts exist? Let them exist.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have a lot of society without sluts. Let's get that right.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
Yeah.
I'm 12.
And that's the big thing is like it's not the fact that you, and on top of the fact that you're dealing with like some type of like medical type of intervention that you might need.
Yes.
And at that point you didn't know.
Correct. So, and that's the thing is like, we got all my results back, and at the time they had me cleared for that I was cancer free, as in it wasn't properly diagnosed. It just took a long time for the diagnostic period to conclude.
Right.
So that was, an amazing 6 months.
Yeah.
Do not recommend.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, from a family traumatic point of view, but from origin story canon, it was my brother that had cancer all along.
Did that like fuck you up because like
It was weird.
Because
it was
now,
really fucking weird because everybody expected that it was going to be me having breast cancer, and then it's just like, oh look, he's got bone cancer instead.
And now, without like assuming or like assuming how you would feel, but I try to like put myself in other places to understand. But like, did it affect you in the way of like, well, I was getting the attention that could have been like, what if someone was so focused on me trying to find out what this is, that this was progressing, and it's like, oh, I kind of took whatever. Does that make sense?
I didn't really get to experience a lot of that kind of medical trauma. It was more I was being repeatedly traumatized by people perceiving my body the way they wanted to and making it my problem.
Right.
I had boobs at 12, so therefore it's my fault that grown men are pedophiles and are trying to make something happen with me.
Right.
And I need to dress better than wearing an oversized Looney Tunes t-shirt in public.
Yeah, it's like they're no matter what it's like a lose.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and
no matter what I do, I'm always like
correct though, and I didn't have the spoons or the energy and things like that. And actually, through that kind of level of fuck all and spite is exactly how Boobzilla got started. Because I got tired of people painting, not just only thinking the narrative. Think what you want. One of the best pieces of advice that I've ever heard was, what people think of me is none of my business.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But that's the thing is, if you think it, I can't know. I'm not psychic. I can't read your mind. I can't hear your thoughts. So what goes on in people's reptile brain? That's your call, I guess. It's not my job to fix it, correct it, educate.
But I can't be responsible for your like emotional feelings.
Yeah, so however, if you make that weird shit onto my person, what you think of me is none of my business until you make it my problem.
Exactly.
Now you got a whole bunch of this to contend with, and you must have wanted it. Well, you must have wanted the attention.
And the thing is, like, what's good about that type of attitude though is like it's addressing it head on. Yes, it's like I'm not gonna mull in this shit and like let people, you know what I mean? Because I looked over at the couple that I was with, and their jaws were on the floor, and you're like, but I wonder what they're thinking, right? You know what I mean? Like, but like, are they entertained? Are they grossed out? Are they, you know what I mean?
Sometimes you just never know, and I have to do my best by reading their faces and body language.
But at the end of the day, though, if you know that you're doing the right, like for me, it's like, hey, if I do everything I can. Yeah. And I have no gut feeling that I did something wrong. Right. If it blows up in my face, it's like, yo, it's not on me. Because like I did my part. Like I did my make sure, and if there was something that I knew that was gonna fuck someone else, I would know. I would just say,
I would know, and I wouldn't do
I
it.
would just say, this is gross.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. Right.
Correct.
Like even when I told like people that like I told like close family and friends like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm gonna have this girl on. She's a circus performer, and you could see like one of these things, but I had to make sure I told them like, hey, this is not like out of parody. You know what I mean? Like this isn't like, hey, like look at the person I brought on. Like look. You know what I mean? Where it's like, no, I genuinely have like respect for you,
Yeah.
and I think you have a lot of knowledge and
I
like
do.
a lot of insight in the profession that you have, and whether it's a small niche or a huge niche or a little pocket or a big pocket, it's like there is someone from today to fucking the infinite amount of time
Yeah.
that is gonna want to possibly hear what you have to say.
And that's the one thing that I've come to understand, about my overall power is that I am one of those entities where I can walk into a room and literally just change the entire vibe of everyone and everything around me. And I have to make sure that I use that responsibly. Like, I'm not trying to influence people to be negative or do the devil's work or just be a shithead. Like, don't be
Now,
a
how do
shithead, But, be calm, be chill, be present. Take in the information that you can, process what you can, readily available, and there's no reason to make rash decisions. There's no reason to have, knee-jerk reactions about a lot of things in life, and there's a lot of things in life that are honestly just made more fucking difficult and complicated to keep us fighting, if you get my drift,
Yeah.
than to actually get more progress done.
Well, do you find that the audience is attending even between here and the U.S.? Not to like criticize either audience, but do you find that the demographics of like U.S. people and Canadian people, like, do you find that their interpretation of your art is different?
Overall, as a whole, now mind you, I've been doing Circus Sideshow for over 21 years now. I've been in this industry for a while, and where most people are generally thinking about retiring or slowing down, I'm just uptrending.
Right.
Because I am maintaining a level of positivity and creativity that most people aren't or don't want to cultivate for themselves. And it's hard. It's hard being able to like find that balance. And like I said, hearing those other voices, it's like, is what they really think, does it really matter in the end game? Like, especially if they don't like my body, whatever. Don't like it. Choke, I guess. Like, if you really want.
And this is one of my questions that like it kind of ties into some of these W's, but it's the idea of like when you were beginning this or when you were embarking on this journey, like what was the precipice? Like, what was Mount Everest? Like, was it like, I want to be on Cirque du Soleil, I want to do a live event? Like, where was the end game, and do you have one?
No, I don't have an end game, because I mean, honestly, where it all started was, like I said, after my brother got diagnosed with cancer, and that's where I got my first gigs. Was I was volunteering at that hospital.
Right.
Like, and basically what had happened is like with my brother going through something so preposterous,
right,
and catastrophic, and me also going through the same thing from a different lens, different perspective, different diagnosis. So he was diagnosed with cancer. I was diagnosed with gigantomastia, which at the time, their treatment plan for me was to just have my boobs repeatedly cut off.
And it would just keep growing?
Yes. And I was just like, what kind of barbaric bullshit is this for medical treatment? So I approached medicine in a different way. Like, I was volunteering before the movie Patch Adams came out.
Right.
So I was very much Robin Williams, who was one of like my biggest influences. It's just like, it didn't matter how things were at the end of the day. It's how you handle like the middle
mm-hmm.
of the day.
Yeah.
And that's how you can reflect at the end of the day. But when it came down to like these challenges, and I'd watch like some of these comedians and how they would process things, and that's what led me to volunteering in these hospitals. And I'm sitting there like, with these terminal children just dying of like the worst fucking cancers you could even possibly imagine.
Yeah.
Like, and all these candy stripers and stuff like that are like walking in and out like they're crying, they can't handle it. So I'm going in there and I'm mocking 8-year-olds to their face for picking a shitty hotel room.
Yeah.
I was like, you could have gone to fucking Disney World. This is what you wanted for your last wish, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So I wasn't handling these kids or these young adults with kid gloves, and I wasn't treating them like they were fragile. I was fucking with them.
Yeah.
Like the way that regular people would, and they appreciated it. I know it sounds terrible, but they appreciated it so much that I was treating them like a regular ass person.
Yeah.
Some of those kids actually did turn around and live.
Yeah.
You know, some of those people were able to have more like a longer and healthier fighting chance. Not everybody made it, unfortunately.
Right.
But that's just unfortunately the way that sometimes life works out. And it's like, so I understood that I had the ability to change lives, change perceptions, change just even comedy by existing. And so it's just like, that's how Boobzilla got started, where it's just like I noticed myself naturally adapting to different things. Like when I was in school, it became painful for me to carry my textbooks. So I was always wearing baggy clothes anyway, because I was tired of everybody perceiving my body ridiculously. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Is I would carry my textbooks under my boobs where nobody would see.
Right.
So when I get to class, I just quickly just pull it out, and one kid just finally saw me. They're like, "What the fuck just happened?"
Yeah.
And they're like,
That's
"Witchcraft,
that's
magic."
a new party trick.
And that's exactly what happened. So I started getting hired at some of my friends' parties,
Right.
to do like these like random ass boob stunts. Now, mind you, I'm 13.
Yeah, see, it's like, then it's like, oh, like, you're like, oh, that's so cool, and then you're like, oh, but I was 13. You're like, oh.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing. It's like,
oh.
so it's like a lot of people think that my acts come from a sexual place, and it's like, no, it came from me reclaiming my body, because it's like when I went and the shit thing about me finding out the diagnosis was the treatment was as I would have to go to a gigantomastia specialist, which was often a plastic surgeon. Not saying shit about plastic surgeons, just the one that this particular one I encountered was a piece of shit, an absolute pedophile piece of shit.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm going there, I'm topless, I'm taking my photos, you know, for before and after surgery. Yeah. Then this guy knows that I've been abused. He knows what I'm currently going through. He knows that the family is also going through a whole bunch of shit. And so it's like, you know, my family is trying to do their best of dividing their time between two potentially sick and or dying children.
Yeah.
You know, and this asshole.
Fucking around.
Complete fucking around. Like, I can't believe the nurse didn't do anything. Like, I'm serious. I cannot believe she didn't do anything. My mother was too stunned to do something. Anyway, so after doing my consult, after this, like, this guy is like 70, 80 years old touching on me, and I'm not trying to be like, oh, doctors shouldn't touch on you because they have to perform exams, but
you felt like it was
wrong.
It was, you took exception.
I knew it was wrong, and I felt it was wrong, and everybody's like, oh, you're being sensitive, and after we like conclude the whole evaluation, this motherfucker, this piece of shit, I will never forgive him for this. He literally just looks at my photos, looks at me, looks at my mom, looks back at me, and he's like, so why do you want to have your breasts removed? He's like, with your looks, if you get a pair of pasties, learn to spin them in opposite directions, you would make a killing as a stripper.
And you're like,
I'm 12.
You're like, what the fuck? You're like, maybe fucking high school? Like, maybe...
I'm in middle school.
Yeah, you're like, maybe just like finishing my fucking childhood.
I'm like in 7th grade.
Yeah.
Like,
that's, it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and he's advocating for me to be a stripper. Again, I don't care that people are strippers. I used to be a stripper, but I was a stripper when I was of age.
Right.
You know, and it's like advocating like underage stripping. What the fuck kind of sex trafficking bullshit is that?
Yeah.
So like the nurse didn't do anything. I was like, you better call the cops. And she was like, I'm not going to do anything. And I was like, so, okay, fine. I kicked his ass.
Yeah.
I'm saying that on camera. I don't care. I fucked him up.
Fucking right.
Like, seriously, like.
It's fine. We're in Canada.
Well, I mean,
doesn't matter.
Statute of limitations is expired.
Yeah,
but no, good. I mean seriously, like you're a pedophile, you're a rapist, and everything else. So like, absolutely not. So like that really jaded me. Like that it's just like this is supposed to be a medical professional. This is supposed to be a doctor, somebody in a position of trust.
So was this like a pendulum shift where it was so then you kind of leaned into it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Through absolute spite. And I was just like, I was like, clearly this piece of shit can't know more about my body than I
So how
would
did
be
you not
learning.
get bitter? How did you not get bitter about it, or like kind of go through these emotions where like, because you see with something like that where say you're doing it out of like retaliation or
Yeah.
like almost like rebounding, right?
Yeah.
Where how do you not like go like, yeah, fucking rights, I'm owed this. Yeah, give me my fucking spot. Like I've been swinging my fucking breasts since I was fucking this age, and like people been fucking with me since the fucking dawn of time.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're fucking rights that I want this. Like, how do you still kind of like remain humble? Like, was there like a lot of introspective thought, or like was there a lot of like coaching with like people that you work with and other cast people to kind of put you in that mindset of
No.
like having that?
Unfortunately, not. There hasn't been a lot of help in that particular regard because my experience has been so unique in that way that most people's bodies are not perceived the same way mine has through growth. So it made it more complicated. Like it was very much appreciated that I had love and support from other cast members, and like now I'm on several, like I've been on the last several casts where people are very, like they have much different body types than I do, and they don't care. They're very loving, and they're very embraceful and joyful about who I am, what I do, how I present myself, how I exist in the art that I make.
You almost have to have like a level of like open-mindedness when you work in a job like this, because it's kind of like, oh, I know I'm gonna go somewhere where like they don't know what I do, I don't know what they do, times fucking X amount.
Exactly. And so it's like that's
so it's like, how do I tell this guy that like he might be possibly like fucking up my set, but I don't have a fucking clue what he does. So how am I supposed, you know what I mean? And maybe it's a cue thing. Maybe it's just like, dude, all you got to do is catch the basketball. And he's like, yeah, but I'm also doing this. Sit the fuck down. Right? Like
rehearsals help.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's like, our cast has very good chemistry together, and we all communicate, even though we all speak so many different languages.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm one of the few actual like first language English speakers on my cast.
Well, yeah, I saw that the smaller bald black dude with the chainsaw.
Mommy, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, he's pretty dope. One of the things were like, they were having like a thing with the wall or whatever through, and I saw him racing down. He's like, is everybody okay? Like, everything good? And I'm like, man, these guys are on top of shit.
That man speaks like 300 different languages.
Yeah?
Like, seriously.
Yeah. He was pretty, a lot of some of his work that he did through the show was very, very, very funny.
Yeah, no, he's an excellent performer, and I enjoy working with him and lots of the other cast members, and that's the thing. It's like being around other artists helps keep me grounded, helps keep me calm. Being around other people that aren't gaslighting you or being weird ass narcissist helps.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, yes, I know what I do is a 1 in a billion act, and I appreciate that. I'm always working on my own self and improvement. Don't be weird and be like, oh yeah, your stuff was okay. No, fuck you, bitch. I know my shit was great.
And it's like,
but I don't have to lead with that. I let my work speak for itself.
And that's like, it's like, you just go like, how do I word this? Because I'm on like the same length where people go like, where I get like really hyped up when I interview any guest. They're like, well, what? Like you just, and you're like, no, but like, you don't fucking understand how fucking difficult. So I totally empathize with you on that but the idea where it's like, well, that's not for you. Like, if you fucking were in my brain and thought what I thought, you would be just as excited. And the fact that you aren't it's like, that's fine. Like, I don't want you there anyway. It's all right. I'm cool. Like,
yeah, like literally.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't enjoy it, then go. Like, you're not chapping my ass either way. Like, if you don't want to be there, then don't be there.
And do you think
like,
that's a problem with people's perception though, where like they have to have, like, people feel like they have to be a critique, where they can't just say, you know what? I'm going to remain unbiased. I don't know if I like it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I really fucking enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's something.
Yeah.
And I can respect it.
Yeah, I don't
You know what I mean?
I don't
Like,
put my art out there for people to like it. I know that sounds weird, but I don't put my art out there for people to like it. I put my art out there to change people's perspective.
Right.
If they enjoy it, great. If they hated it, awesome. Tell everybody. I guess. Like, free advertising. I don't know.
And the thing is, like, I feel like in today's day and age where everybody has to be on like a left side or right side, where it's like, you also can be like impartial about things where you're like, you know what? I haven't fully decided how I felt about it because like I just might not know enough.
Well, that's the thing is like people always feel the need that they have to say something.
Yeah.
And it's just like you know if you follow that religion stuff, you know, and that God person, that God entity thing, the one that floats around the sky with the scepters and the glitter, whatevs. The God thing gave you the lips, whatever, if you believe in this theory of construct and their version of evolution. The God that gave you the lips means that God gave you the opportunity to
keep them shut. Exactly.
You know what else you could do if you don't like it? You could just close your eyes.
Yeah.
Do you have a working neck? Oh,
yeah.
What is that? I will look away.
It's funny because it's so and people feel like, I don't know. It's interesting because even like when like I think about how like I'm perceiving this interview, where it's like I wanted to take the approach of like, you respect people for their art, you respect people for their craft, like, you know, like, and to be honest, I fucking like the level of feeling that I have is so like next to nothing, where it's like I'm impartial about everything. It's like you could go sit me somewhere and be like, hey, you're just gonna go sit out here. I'd be like, all right, bet. Like I just don't like what.
Sometimes people just want to experience things for how they are without your influence. Yeah. Like have the aquarium effect. You want to see the life in its natural setting, and that's fine.
It's perfectly fine.
It's perfectly fine. Like that is the instance in where we are inside. We are the mermaids, the clownfish, whatever, inside the glass aquarium. Don't fucking tap on the glass. We'll kick you in the face.
Yeah.
But it's just come and enjoy, and just be part of it and experience like the calm, the art, the beauty of it.
Exactly.
And so that's why I really like working with this circus, where it's just people are actually coming. They're very calm. They're joyful, even when they are shocked and peeing themselves when I'm performing. I have yet to see someone tell me face to face that they didn't like my act, or that I wasn't the favorite, or that my act didn't bring them life somehow.
Right.
I have seen one negative comment from a hater that is being biased for their own personal reasons.
Yeah.
And whatever, who cares? Like, I don't care. I don't care about not being someone's favorite. Like, who gives a shit?
Well, and taking that on is exhausting.
Exactly.
Taking it on, like, it's like to take that on is exhausting.
Yeah, so it's like who you like, I guess, support who you can. And if you don't have a favorite in the show, just enjoy the whole goddamn show, or don't.
Yeah.
It's just like you said, you don't have to say anything. You could just enjoy and just be a neutral,
right,
an unbiased party.
Yeah.
I think people forgot how to do people watching because of the pandemic, because we weren't watching people anymore. We were watching them on a screen. And
I think people like, it's interesting you do say that as well, because I do also totally agree with you. And I also think too, like, it was this idea of, oh, there's no more like consequential actions, or like I don't have to face like the social reverb of like people looking at you and going, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? Like people can just go and whatever. And now people are kind of so tone deaf, where now like you go out and it's like, well, now I'm the albatross if I say something.
Yes.
And now I'm the piece of shit if I go like, why are you being an asshole? Just to be an asshole? Or like, what the fuck? And then they're like, hey, and you're like, no. Like this kind of has to be brought back to life, where it's like, hey man, chill out. You're not the main character in this fucking story. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you're out in the public, I think a lot of people don't realize, like, even if a guy's like, oh, I can't believe she's doing this. It's like, dude, you're one of like 400 fucking people here. Like, what are you even talking about? Yeah. Not even the people that actually know what the entirety of the art is. It's like when a director watches his own film and goes like, oh, like I appreciate this, and like it was really good, and then someone's like, I didn't like it, and you're like, dude, you're fucking 6 years old and fucking know nothing about movies.
Yeah.
And like, fuck you. Of course you don't know, because you have no idea what the industry is about. So say, this isn't about you, man. Take a seat.
Yeah. Take a seat. Don't like it. Like it. Art is subjective. Not everybody has to like everything. There's a lot of things going on at home that I don't like.
Yeah. So let me get through a few more questions. And so what made you choose, like, so what would be, if you were saying like circus was a degree, what would be your major? Sword swallowing?
Human oddity.
Okay, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Back when the Sideshow was still part of the circus, before the Sideshow tents existed, us circus freaks would still be there. So I'm a natural born freak.
Okay.
So that would probably be my major. Because I've been
minor in sword swallowing.
Minor in sword swallowing.
Yeah.
Minor in fakir or stunt person acts. Because
right.
I do a lot of the traditional 10-in-1 sideshow acts, like walking on broken glass, beds of nails, ladder and machete, sword swallowing, fire.
Is there a lot of recovery from that? Like in terms of like a lot of the, like the pain, like the walking on glass, or not only that, like maybe the better question would be like, how do I word this? Like, if something were to go wrong, is it a long-term injury?
I mean, that's a wide open question.
Let's keep it narrowed on like sword swallowing.
I mean, that's potentially fatal.
Right.
So every time I swallow a sword, even though I'm excellent at it, and I just celebrated my 18th anniversary as a sword swallower, something could always go wrong. So I could...
and how much training did it take?
I learned in 6.5 minutes.
Yeah?
Yes.
And
that is not typical.
Is there like, typical like natural skills that you would have that would assist you in being a better sword swallower, like no gag reflex, or
I still have a gag reflex. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
But I have EDS, which a lot of people don't know what that is. That's Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which means that I'm a contortionist. I'm hyper flexible and hypermobile. What we've discovered is I am more hyper flexible on the inside, which is why I'm so curvy and things like that, because my organs and things like that tend to go kind of everywhere.
Right.
And so that being said, like, my esophagus will move in unnatural ways while I have swords down, and that is what allows me to be able to do things that I can do.
Do you put anything on the sword before you
spit?
That's it?
Yep.
No, like a shit ton of what's it called? Like jelly, like, you know what I mean, like like Vaseline.
Ew,
like,
no,
that's up.
petrochemicals. Why?
Yeah,
Ew,
I don't know.
No.
I was like, I create as much lubrication between my neck.
No, I'm good with my spit, thanks. If people are upset with me spitting on my own swords to make sure that they don't stab a hole in my throat and die, I guess they can just, I don't know,
they can
shit.
Die.
They could just eat shit or fuck off or mind their own business, or I don't know, they could be polite and ask me, why I do this, to not die.
Yeah.
And mind your business. Like, sword swallowing isn't inherently sexual. It is inherently dangerous.
Right.
So it's one of those things where, being able to, each sword swallower is different. So sometimes, there are sword swallowers that do use other forms of like oils as lubrication.
Right.
I don't like the taste.
No.
I don't like canola oil burps. It's gross for me.
It's like if it works, it works. It's like, why fuck up a well-working machine?
Yeah,
like
I'm definitely a well-oiled machine.
Well-oiled machine. Let me briefly touch on like questions about like television performances. So you featured on AMC, Jerry Springer's Too Hot for TV, I believe it was called.
The first episode was Rude Nude Riots, and the second episode was Return of the Fan Favorites. But I was on pay-per-view, yes.
So, is there much... So this is kind of a multifaceted question, so bear with me. What's the difference between television performances against live performances, and do often the televised performances have a live audience?
Well, Jerry Springer did have a live audience.
I went to Jerry Springer before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I love it. I thought it was great.
yeah, so it's like even though I was on pay-per-view, it was still the same concept with it being a live
Tiny
studio.
set.
Now. It's a tiny set.
It makes it look so much bigger on the TV.
Yeah.
And then when you go there, you're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, I know.
There's a fucking, there people are
Small
coming
room.
down things, and it's like the size of this room. I'm like,
Yeah.
yo, this is lackluster.
This is terrible. What
Yeah.
happened?
Yeah.
Camera magic.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is like, the difference between being on like Springer versus AMC was, AMC had me take like more takes and things like that. So I needed to be prepared mentally and physically to do the same sword. Well, not necessarily the same sword, just swallow a sword on repeat if they were trying to get it on footage. Sometimes, when they're doing a take for me to like lift a person with my chest, sometimes it needed to be taken from multiple angles depending on how the cameras were working that day.
Yeah, and did you find like they tried to like dilute what you were trying to do in terms of art? Like, did you find like the collaboration there was like decent in terms of like they're not trying to fucking mangle with it and make it this like weird, like they kind of stayed true to what I am, and like they kind of like highlighted me appropriately.
I've only had that really happen when I was in a music video where it's just they edited me down to like nothing, and I was like, wow, cool.
Yeah, thanks.
I was not pleased with that. They what had ended up happening was they scammed me out of a show. Basically, they had me performing for their entire cast and used none of that footage, and used a segment of me having fun with the cast and put it in the music video, which was not what I was contracted to do.
Right.
I was not pleased.
Yeah.
I don't share that music video because they can suck it.
Yeah.
But like, for example, the difference between being on AMC's Freak Show versus I was on Spike TV. I was, when they were doing the Full Throttle Saloon.
Right.
I wasn't a main character, just like when I wasn't a main character for the BBC or BBC Two. I was basically in the background for, they were filming someone else. They were the main story, and I just happened to be in the background, like when I was on BBC and BBC Two.
Right.
That's when Adam Pearson, who, super congratulations to him, he just got selected to play a revamped role of the Elephant Man.
Okay.
So he is a current person who is living the life of having the Elephant Man's condition, and he's working as a social media influencer and a TV personality. So now he's adapting for a new movie.
Wow.
To live that life, and he's over there in the UK, so it's just like perfecto.
That would be so fun.
But so he came to the States back in 2015 when I was doing a Vegas residency at Circus for their Halloween season, and so we had our own little tiny midway, and I'm there in the background doing sword swallowing. But he reached out to me, and he was just like, I'd really like to have you as part of this project because I see that you operate with more of a freak show, and over here in the UK, freak show is considered so derogatory and so negative. Right. But I see more Americans just like fully embracing it and stuff like that. He's like, I was wondering if you'd be interested. I didn't get a chance to watch the whole thing, so I don't know if there are any other speaking parts for me. But so I'm there, not as a bearded lady because I didn't grow my beard out at that time, but there as a sword swallower. Just right there in the background for that. And when I was on Full Throttle Saloon, I was picking up one of their waitresses with my boobs in a folding chair. So it was just like, oh, the wildness of the Full Throttle Saloon. All this weird shit is happening,
But it's fun. But sometimes it's like, that's exactly what I signed up for. You're like, they might be trying to prepare me as something like that. Yeah. But it's like, I also understand, like, what their narrative is, and if I didn't want to do it, I probably shouldn't agree to what the fuck they were asking me to do.
So
right,
it's
so
like,
it's responsibility on like
both parts,
the talent as well as the people, because it's like if there's full transparency and it's kind of like, oh, we're making it look a little goofy or whatever it is, it's like, yeah, but that's part of the role, or that's part of what we're trying to do, and like that's what we kind of contracted you for, and like, so if this is a problem now, it's like we should have talked about this way beforehand, but.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like it's been kind of amazing in that particular regard, and just like working with the show now, nobody's is interested in diluting my art in the slightest. Like, I exist as a catalyst for a reason. I make people think. I make people like literally take collection of themselves and their surroundings and their lives where they're going.
Right.
And it's just like, good. My art is provocative, and that's exactly what art should be. Right. If nothing else, art should be provocative.
That's amazing. So let's end off with, where can people get a hold of you? Instagram, your website, and what direction are you traveling? Are you traveling down towards BC, or are you traveling towards, like, what?
We are eventually making our way to Ontario, but for the next few public dates that we have listed on the website for paranormalcirque.com.
We will be adding all of that to the description as well, so they can get access to the sites and the tickets.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, we're heading to Red Deer, Medicine Hat, Lethbridge, and Calgary for the next month and a half or so.
Month and a half. Perfect.
But we are going to be on tour until September here in Canada, from as far as I can tell.
That's amazing. Well, I'm wishing you all the best.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on, and thanks everybody for hanging out with me on the digital internets and stuffs.
This is amazing. I definitely learned a lot. And I could sit with people for hours. So it's one of those things. So maybe next time you come into town, whether it be months from now, years from now, we'll sit down again and see kind of where we both have progressed in our individual ventures.
What are you talking about? The next time I come through town, I'm crashing at your place, and we're
course.
going to do a 24-hour podcast. The life of the Amazing Boobzilla.
That's
We're going to
right.
follow them around the circus, cameras everywhere.
Like a UFC embedded series.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
That's what I'll do. I'll reach out to the production and be like, yo, let me come in and do a UFC embedded and just follow everybody around like The Office.
Yeah, do it.
With that, everybody, don't forget to follow the Amazing Boobzilla on Instagram, as well as check out Paranormal Cirque IV right now in Edmonton till May 12th. Then in Red Deer from the what do I have it right here? From the 16th to 19th. Don't forget, here in Edmonton, West Ed, look for the big red tents.
Actually, we're a black and white circus tent.
Black and white certain.
Look for the big black and white circus tent, and
My
it says
apologies.
Horror Paranormal Cirque on the arc.
Exactly. With that, don't forget to like and subscribe. This has been another episode of Solo Spotlight with Ryan MacDougall.